here's the truth is that it's mostly SEO. If brands currently have an SEO strategy, they're going to be most of the way there when it comes to GEO or AI search optimization.
And Reddit has licensing agreements to give this content to these AIs to train it. Are there other watering holes we think that these AIs tend to favor? Oh, my friends, today on the Unofficial Shopify podcast, I want to share with you more AI content. But hold on. Now, I swear this will be practical and tactical. That's our bread and butter. I want you to walk away with strategies for optimizing for these LLMs, these large learning models like ChatGPT and Perplexity. Because an interesting thing has occurred. Recently, I started running reports in our retainer client stores to check for referral source on new orders. Where we want to know where our new customer acquisition is coming from, because if there's new spaces where we're getting new orders and customers, we want to double down on that. And in several stores now, I'm seeing ChatGPT pop up as a referrer, which I'm so excited about. Also so frustrated because I can't see the conversation. I don't know what the heck they asked it that got it to recommend our clients' products. And then even Perplexity. And so I went down this rabbit hole. I put in every AI referrer I could come up with. And right now it seems to be ChatGPT and Perplexity. So, okay, this idea, this concept of how do we optimize for that? How do we do SEO for AI? What's that look like? Is that real? Man, we're all still figuring this out together. And so I need someone who's actively working on it, who's been in the space a while, who's going to talk it through with us. And that's Matt King from Domaine and also formerly of Shopify. Mac, welcome back to the show. God, what is this, your third appearance?
Second appearance, but
Second.
although the last one was actually, well, third appearance if you count some of your like roundups from editions.
The
but
lightning interviews, yeah, from
second
conferences
dir-
for sure.
Yes, but my second direct one-on-one. Glad to be back. I'm stoked to be talking to you today, Kurt. We go back, so this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, you were back in the day. You were Shopify partner manager.
I was, yeah. That's how I cut my teeth. I mean, before that, I was a customer service agent, which Shopify used to call gurus until that became somewhat cancelable. But
Yeah, we canceled the term guru.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, at least like no 23-year-old guy from Ottawa, Canada, should have been called a guru. Who does tech support for Shopify stores? Tells grandmas how to change the background color of their theme. I wasn't really a guru, I don't think. But yeah, moved into the partnerships. Worked with you for a couple of years while I was at Shopify. Worked with a number of different agencies while I was at Shopify. I left a while ago now, 2018. So it's been a while since I worked there, but it was certainly. I mean, it was so fun.
All right, so today, if you're not at Shopify anymore, what are you doing?
Yeah, good question. I mean, so I left Shopify to join my favorite agency at the time. I managed agencies mostly in New York City. I managed an agency called Half Helix, which is a 10-person agency run by a developer based out of New York. And it was kind of this like undercover, if you know, Half Helix is good type team. So I left and pitched the founder of Half Helix, Peter, who's my now business partner. I said, I'll leave Shopify, I'll join your agency, and I'll be the Harley to your Toby. I embarrassingly, I actually used that line. So, but it worked. I was like, I look out and I'll be the face and I'll do sales and marketing and partnerships. And, you run the business and run the engineering and that worked to secure my partnership. So I left Shopify, joined as a partner in Half Helix. That was in January 2019. Since then, we merged with we bought an agency called AbleSense based out of Halifax, which is now our mid-market and SMB offering called Domaine Studio. And then we merged with another agency, our biggest competitor at the time, called Tomorrow. And we were competitive. It was the Capulets and the Montagues. We fought for clients and employees, and then we merged and formed Domain. And now we're the largest. Yeah, we're the largest Shopify agency. Which large doesn't mean anything of itself. The important thing is it's the best. So I think we're the best. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I would agree with largest. Taking three agencies that were not small and combining them, and then continuing to scale and grow that. Well, it's been fun to watch for me. But one of your more recent service offerings that you just announced was this concept of optimizing for AI. And yeah, we've touched on this on the show before, and it evolving so quickly. The first thing I want to establish is what the heck do we call it? There's no way we could keep referring to it as SEO for AI. There's got to be a better term, and I know you have thoughts here.
I have thoughts, but my thoughts. So it's funny. At first, we're like, okay, GEO. I saw it online. People are calling it GEO. We're going to refer to it as that. And then I got into a sales call. And we started saying GEO just casually. And then at one point, I got interrupted by a prospect, and he goes, "Hey, what's GEO?" So you forget that we're in this bubble, this little tech bubble, where you see the latest and greatest terms. And you're not always, they're not widely represented. And then as we got deeper and deeper into doing our analysis, we realized that AEO was another accepted term for the exact same thing. DEO, AEO. I've also seen AIO. So what we've decided, which sounds like kind of like old McDonald, yeah, AI, AIO.
Yeah, it was like AIO, AEO. Mm, AIO seemed like the obvious one, AI optimization, right? But the one
Yeah,
I've seen, at least like from other marketers on social media, which take that with a grain of salt, has been GEO, which I don't even know what it stands for.
it's
Um,
generative engine optimization. Uh,
Generative engine optimization. Yeah, you're right. For when the SEO people want to optimize for AI and SEO, they went with neither of those terms entirely. Brilliant.
well, and then there's AEO, which is answer engine optimization. In
Answer engine.
Yeah, and what's all of these technologies that are being built to support AI search optimization are also all having to pick their acronym. So Profound, which is maybe the most advanced AI search tracking tool, or at least the most like it's found its market fit. It's the most expensive for sure. They're using AEO, but a different one called Athena, for example, might use GEO. So the truth is, it's too new. The acronym has not been solved yet. We don't know what it's called. So therefore, domain, we're choosing to just say AI search optimization. It's a mouthful, but we're waiting for the acronym thing to play out.
And so the tools you mentioned were Profound
And
and
Athena,
Athena SEO.
Athena.ai, they're for
Athena
all.
HQ.ai.
Yes, AthenaHQ.ai. And there's others. There's Cognizio, there's Gumloop or Gumshoe, I can't remember which one. So there's like this arms race right now of all these different prompt tracking softwares that are basically like, think of like SEMrush, but for AI search optimization. We've done demos with all of them. And we've seen they all have like similar pricing. They're all backed by different, YC, combinator. They all have this like this private equity veil, or sorry, venture capital veil in front of them, and they're just sell it. Like the demand is there, and these companies are just taking off.
And essentially, the idea is currently, if I want to track success of SEO, I would have keywords I'm interested in. And there are tools that will automate showing me, like, well, here's the average ranking position that this gets versus these, this new flavor of tool will try to estimate how often my brand would get mentioned by, ChatGPT, Perplexity, or similar tools.
Exactly. Yeah. What they'll do is they'll collate like 15 to 20 different prompts. The big difference, right, between SEO and, let's call it GEO. So, there's SEMrush, Ahrefs, there's all these tools that SEO specialists have been using for years to monitor individual keywords. The biggest difference between GEO and SEO is the length of the prompt, right? An average prompt is 33 words in length versus like an average keyword, which is 1 to 3 words in length. So there's this entire new industry of software that's spun up in order to track prompts. And the problem is that there's so much demand right now, and there's so many businesses that are focusing on this who don't know what to buy, that this is a fairly commoditized tool, at least in the SEO space. Like all you're doing is tracking keywords. So companies are overspending on the software in the AI search optimization space right now because it's just so new. So I recommend for people who are interested in tracking prompts and who are interested in looking at AI search optimization, don't spend $1,000 a month on a tracking tool. Like, do a little bit more research, and this is going to be commoditized in 6 to 12 months. It will be.
Yeah, I think right now you're still on like your bleeding edge tool, and so there's an appetite for it, and they're able to charge more for it. This really seems very similar to SEO. It's like, all right, let's say I sell shorts. I in Google I'd be optimizing for like you know best men's shorts, and then my long tail keyword phrase would be like best men's shorts for vacation.
Yeah.
Um, My wife has a excellent search ranking for best shorts for Disney World, I believe, or like best anti-chafing shorts for Disney World. You would not believe the number of people who do that search. It it's crazy. And so then, like, I'm applying that same concept to AI, where instead of doing the Google search, the person is just asking ChatGPT or they're asking Perplexity, which a little different. It's a tool like ChatGPT or Claude or like a traditional chatbot. Is what these AIs are. They're they have a database that they're going through, and then there's like the answer engine version, like Perplexity, where I ask it the question, it then is going to do a series of searches and then summarize the results for me. That's what we're talking about, right? It's just trying to get
Oh yeah.
mentioned more often. Okay. How? Like what's the I get the why we want to do this, right? I don't want to keep paying for Meta. I don't want to keep paying for PPC ads. And, if I perceive my competitors are doing this, I feel the pressure to do it too. But in theory, if I can manage this, I am getting, potentially free unlimited traffic from these search engines recommendations. Same as traditional SEO. If I'm thinking through this, Perplexity is getting the answers from Google. And so traditional SEO may be the optimization there. ChatGPT and similar is from the data they have scraped from the internet that they're just constantly updating. They need more to make the models smarter and smarter. How do I optimize for that?
Good
I mean, they're
question.
still getting the data from the web, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the truth is that it's mostly SEO. It's like if brands currently have an SEO strategy, they're going to be most of the way there when it comes to GEO or AI search optimization. Now there is a chasm, 70% SEO. There's another 30% on top of that that's specific to this new world. So it's probably where we should focus on. I mean, if you know SEO or if you have an SEO agency or your friend, does SEO for a different brand, hire them because you will start showing up better on search results. Now, I mentioned earlier the biggest difference is the size of the prompt versus the size of the keyword. So how do you like the first step in showing up on ChatGPT when someone's chatting, like what's the best beauty brand for dry skin, is to start tracking it, create a custom dashboard. Look at 10 to 20 different prompts and analyze which prompts you want to be showing up for in ChatGPT results. Now, the way to find those prompts can also be done through traditional SEO. Look at your organic keywords. Why are people coming to you through Google? What paid ads are you bidding on? What keywords are you bidding on through Google Analytics, and what's performing the best? Now, take those 10 to 15 keywords that you're bidding on through Google or Meta, bring them into ChatGPT and ask them, hey, I'm a beauty brand that focuses on people with dry skin. Here are the keywords I'm using for Google. Can you create 10 to 15 prompts that people would use to discover the same brand that I'll start tracking for AI search optimization? Ask ChatGPT for your own answer. So how you can get down on them. And they'll come up with 15 prompts. And that's what you should use to start. Also, go through your own thought process. Think about what prompts you think you should be showing up for and incorporate some of those as well. But yeah, the first step is to start tracking. Is it overhyped? Yes. But if what you're doing is mostly SEO anyway, then it can't help. That's right. It can't hurt. It'll only help your business. So at least at the very worst base outcome, you'll improve your own site's SEO, which is still a good outcome. At the very best outcome, you're going to start getting real sales from AI search tools, which is a really good one.
I want to ask the inverse question. Are there black hat tactics that we shouldn't do?
I think Reddit, Reddit is a huge source of material for LLMs. Maybe non-surprisingly, but like there's a lot of chatter happening. There's a Shopify Reddit group. There's all sorts of e-commerce Reddit groups, and they're going to pick up that as a source. What's the best Shopify app for X, or how do I, increase my conversion rate? And these are places that Shopify is going to reference. What's or beauty? I have oily skin. What product should I use? That's where a lot of these references are going to be taking place, and a lot of the information LLMs are going to be referencing. When it comes to a marketer's perspective, their first instinct when they know that Reddit's going to be important is, okay, I'm going to set up a bot. I'm going to make a channel. I'm going to track all the chatter. I'm going to make sure my 10 different new bot accounts respond on every one of these Reddit posts. And that is not the way. I see you shaking your head. No, that's
Naughty,
going to get you.
naughty.
Yeah, that'll get people banned, booted, and removed from the community really quickly. Reddit does a great job at self-moderating. So the hard answer, instead of like that naughty way of just creating a bot and automating your responses, is like you actually have to engage with the community. You have to figure out, bring on a community member of your team, or do it yourself. Are you the owner? Start track Reddit activity, and then respond with real thoughtful answers that identify who you are and why you have the authority on that topic. And Reddit will still find that. That's a more engaged and specific strategy, not suitable for everyone, obviously, but important to note. I think, like, don't try and game Reddit, because that's going to get you booted.
But I think that's really good advice because, like, if you do a search, especially a recommendation or like review type search, Perplexity will always come back, like, because it cites its sources, and you will always see it looking through Reddit for
Mhm.
info for exactly the reasons you cited. The chances are you're going to get a real human written response from an actual person perusing Reddit versus, like blog review sites where it's this very, you know, probably paid for at some point editorial content. And we know Reddit, like, that's definitely the direction these LLMs go to get fresh non AI content is like, hey, let's go to Reddit. And Reddit has licensing agreements to give this content to these AIs to train it. And so for sure, like that pipeline is there. So if you could get consistent recommendations in Reddit, that's going to start to appear in these AI results. Are there other sites? Are there other watering holes we think that these AIs tend to favor?
Well, they're favoring pretty basic blog content in a way that Google has kind of moved past. That's one thing that we've realized through looking at some of the tracking. And again, I'll focus on my own business, right? I'm kind of obsessed with how accurate has ChatGPT got Domain. If I talk about, who's like, I'm a VP of e-commerce at a $250 million e-commerce brand migrating from Salesforce to Shopify. Who are five agencies I have to talk to? And I'll use the exact prompt, and they'll give me five agencies that I've never heard of, and I know that I shouldn't talk to them. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Why are they showing up? So you can actually, through some of these tracking tools, view the authority source that ChatGPT is using as to why those agencies are showing up. So I'll click on that and look through. And what I found was an article on the 10th page of Google, literally the 10th page, that was written 4.5 years ago on like one of those really spammy blog posts that have like ads kind of like plastered all around the entire thing of like, here are the top 10 Shopify agencies that you need to talk to about your store. Clearly just like a random spam piece of content that,
Yeah, somebody's like goofy listicle, but they're trying to
right.
make money for like get rich quick with AdSense 10 years ago.
Yes,
Interesting.
that's been relegated to the 10th page of Google, and Google would never showcase as a real result, but ChatGPT is. Over the last 20 years, believe it or not, Google got pretty good at showcasing what the right results were on page one. ChatGPT is not that sophisticated yet.
Yeah, that Google algorithm, like that's this black box. This it so much effort has gone into that versus, ChatGPT has solved for an AI and done a great job at it. But now we also expect them to solve search ranking algorithms too. Like that, it's tough. I get why it. This is interesting. I had not thought of it this way. But yeah, it's essentially like you're doing SEO, but SEO as it was 10, 15 years ago is what it sounds
Oh
like.
yeah. Well, yeah. Good luck, ChatGPT. You're about to go up against a swath of internet marketers trying to outgame the system. Good luck. Took Google
And
20
black
years to
hat
get good
SEO
at it.
people have
Oh,
fun.
and exactly
They're a
right. So
creative bunch.
Yeah, and so there are real ways right now for arbitrage in this short period of time before ChatGPT gets good enough to say, no, we're only showing the proper result.
Okay. LLMs.txt file. I have implemented this on our retainer client sites. It is not difficult to do. And you make the LLMs.txt file, upload it to files in Shopify, and then set up a redirect for /LLMs.txt to that file. I've done it. Do we think it does anything?
Good question. Well, you can actually tell. Like in some cases, we've run tests, and you can look at the source for a response to a ChatGPT query, and it'll actually reference that TXT. So it's happening
Okay.
for our website, for example, for our own LLMs.txt file. So I assume it's going to work for brands. We're now suggesting it for commerce companies and brands to have their own.
It's so easy to implement too. It's like even if you don't think it works, on the 1% chance it does, just do it.
Oh, absolutely. Shopify's got one, Shopify.com.
They do.
If you go to Shopify.com /LLMs.txt, you'll see theirs is very basic, very simple. And I think, for most companies, you're going to want to have a little more data in there, a little more enrichment. But yeah, why not? It can't hurt.
And the background here is the idea is it is resource intensive for an AI to process a website. And so you give it essentially like a simple, straightforward summary written in Markdown, which is a language that is very efficient for AIs to use, and it's incredibly simple to write. There's nothing to it. In fact, the AI can just write it for you, and then that way they have kind of like this is an overview of the site. It confirms the understanding of the site, and then maybe it has like a few key links that you're trying to highlight.
Exactly. And gets your point across. We found that, yeah, again, it might be completely unnecessary. Well, I found that like on a B2B basis, ChatGPT is not showing the right results. But when I dive into do an analysis on my own company, on Domaine, for example, they'll get our positioning right without a little bit more of a prompt. And maybe that's coming from the text file that's on our root domain, but maybe it's just coming from looking at our marketing, and our homepage. And yeah, again, it might be doing nothing, but at the very least, it's not going to.
Where do we find Matt King online?
I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, mostly LinkedIn, Mac King Domain. Look me up or on X at Mac King.
Yeah. All right. I will link to both of those, to all that in the show notes. Matt King, Domain. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kurt. Appreciate you having me on.